Hi everyone and welcome back. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm coming to YouTube to tell you a little bit about the incredible month of September 2021. This is going to be a comprehensive astrology video as well as a video with intuitive insights about the month ahead. So yes, without further ado, let's jump into this video. There will be chapter markers below, and I have been very excited to be coming on and talking about Virgo season, talking about Libra season of 2021, the beginning of Libra season at least. So I hope you have a wonderful tea or coffee. And without further ado, let's dive into this video. So starting with some intuitive messages for the month of September. So it feels that follow through is really tested in this month. Intuitively, energetically, there is a very multifactorial experience for most people. So we might struggle if we are only committed to one thing, if we only have one goal at hand, if we are very soul focused right now. I think that there has to be a more broad approach for most people because honestly, as I've looked through some of the astrology transits, which we will be talking about later in the video, September is one of the most probably challenging months of this year for a lot of people. And for some people, it's like being challenged in the best way. It's like a true sort of legacy building type of challenge that builds strength, builds endurance, and builds fortitude for the future. And for others, it is more of a karmic clearing where, regardless of whether the experiences are interpreted as positive or negative, it's getting them to exactly where they need to be. So knowing that we are likely getting where we need to be through the month of September via the month of September is a really good point of solace for many people, especially if you're feeling that things are difficult. But that is also why I can already tell you at the beginning of this video that the multifactorial, multi-talent approach is very rewarding. So knowing that you have many different talents, and this is everybody, this is not just, eccentric people, starting to build new talents, starting to add more diversity into your life is going to be something very rewarding at this time. And in a way, it can feel hectic. It can feel chaotic. It can feel overwhelming for some people to only be getting there now. But it does feel like we need options and choices. Though for many people, options and choices have been something that have not been experienced as a positive thing right now, but rather experienced as a more Nine of Swords experience. Like, how do I choose? How do I pick one of these options? And now coming into September, we are also going to see the reward of having more choices, more options, and having a few different paths that we can go down if we need to. So that flexibility is really a great option right now. One thing that came through really clearly, intuitively to me about the month of September was the need not to rush. So diligent, methodical time management, as we are in Virgo season, the natural 6th house, which has total rulership over this type of thing, creating for yourself a very good schedule. Routines should be in order by now, hopefully, and to the degree where we can really also start mapping out our other types of actions with like career, with higher learning, with business building, with creating a more satisfactory life. All of these things should be really clear and poignant to us right now, to the degree where we don't have to start rushing here. We don't have to scramble or go into workaholism in order to get through the day. So I will say procrastination is not just a problem in a month like September of 2020. It is something that can derail. Being unwilling to face a health problem, unwilling to face a change that you needed to make, can really start to not just feel uncomfortable, but generate uncomfortable experiences. But as I'm seeing a lot of people not rushing and stepping up to the challenge and kind of being in this very like Zen pioneer, enduring place, I mean, what comes on the other side of that is very, very cool, very huge for some people and really lofty. As I think it's very possible that the universe could test many of us in the month of September with opposition, with questions, with the why factor. You know, why are you doing this? What purpose is this serving in your life? Where does this really get you? Is all of this energy an appropriate expenditure to achieve this result? There's going to be a lot of that in September. And for those people who have struggled with insecurity or have self-concept struggles, this month can actually really heal that up, as we kind of have to answer it. It feels on the inside like, why am I doing this? What really is the result? And it's not just a kind of smooth contemplative experience in September. It's starting to get real. So the stuff is really manifesting. It's really like, okay, the choice is now, created a type of construct in my life, and that's real. It's physical. And we will see that all across the board, physical manifestations coming through with Virgo. And then Libra also bringing in a new level of perception. I think Libra season at the end of September is probably going to make us really perceive our reality very differently. As I see many people moving or changing location, totally stepping out of something that they thought that they might have been doing for a long time, or making plans to do so. So as we are actually manifesting that, no longer just thinking about it, but manifesting it, it really seems to be creating a big collective difference. So people are maybe looking at certain locations or certain career paths in a very different way than they previously did. With that, I think that this is another reason that the, again, multi-talent approach, multifactorial experience, where we're not just devoted to that one singular output, again, is a huge benefit. So yes, creating contingency plans is not horrible, as I think Scorpio season for everyone is going to see some amount of need for contingency plan. This can come about in kind of life-altering ways, actually, this Scorpio season. And it's probably good to even talk about Scorpio season in advance. I'm going to try to do that in the oncoming T-Chat on Patreon. So be sure to check the Patreon link below to get some more insight on Scorpio season early. But Libra season, obviously, as the preceding sign to Scorpio, is going to start to generate these perceptions and generate these motivations that lead to this, okay, that lead to these life-altering things, which are, for most people, some type of godsend or some type of really great opportunity for elevation. But it's also unforgiving in a way, and this is about Virgo, Libra, and to a degree Scorpio season. By Scorpio season, everyone, to me, the perception feels very, very different. So it's hard to really talk about that right here and right now. But there is an unforgiving quality to missteps or to grandiosity, impulses which have to do with very mundane things like cravings or addictive cycles or insignificant experiences that are more mundane. Again, sixth house Virgo is about the day-to-day regimented routines that we don't really take much account for. Like, how do I posture myself while sleeping? How do I think when I'm preparing myself meals every day? Like, these super repetitive, smaller seeming things could use some editing for a lot of people. And there's a huge, again, elevation through that changing process. But after this Virgo season, as we move into Libra and Scorpio, there's an unforgiving element to the things that we refused to change that needed to change now. When I say unforgiving, it's not unforgiving in the sense of some type of damnation or some type of consequence. It's more like generative, of some type of softness that remains for a long time, almost as if like you're an elite athlete and you have a small amount of core strength. Maybe some of those elite athletics can still be done through using the spine, through using, the deep inner adrenal function of the adrenal system to like somehow go into a survival place and make that happen. But do you get what I'm talking about? This is a good dialogue, actually, and kind of an early preparation for Scorpio season again. We can develop the proper strength to do what it is we need to do now, but those small little habits need to start getting in alignment with that here. Otherwise, it's going to take the spine, it's going to take a massive amount of adrenaline to do these things where it could just be a healthy core, and calmly and with the health of the rest of our body in check, we can accomplish just as much, if not more. So that feels like very vital, essential knowledge to have right now, that these little choices, these little things, these even small aesthetics are impactful right now. And we have to also be able to, again, I'm being pulled back into not rushing into things. So if there's a feeling of needing to make a decision quick, or the feeling of, I need to fit into this packaging, I need to fit into this framing, I need to have this type of style, I need to be, I need to look just like that person who did what I wanted to do. I need to and there's all this quick decisions, like I'm getting my hair cut just like that person had it because that's what a person in that successful position looks like. Like this is something that's really got to start changing up here and now. And if things are right, they tend to be really wanted to some degree, with a grain of salt here, as it relates to the way that one projects, the choices that one makes about their appearance is a good version of this example. That is something that's usually wanted. So really watch out for creating false pretenses with the appearance or anything relating to that. That's not even just the physical appearance. That's the tone of voice. That is the I guess etiquette of correspondence, like emails, communication, messages. All of these things are just dying for authenticity right now. Okay. Authenticity and care. So it's not about being lazy. It's not about being uncaring with the appearance or with the correspondence or with the voice and just kind of doing it from bed per se. But it is about being true to oneself. Being true to oneself is such an incredible quality that is lacking right now in a lot of people. Where I'm seeing the influence of others, or other people saying, I just don't see that for you. You should have this style, or you should try writing in this way, or you should try, looking the way that this person looks because that's what I saw on Instagram. That is going to basically nullify a lot of people's projection. Although, this is such a weird psychic message, because it's I'm being called to say that we don't want to strive for just recreating another aesthetic that's already been done to kind of try to fit in. But I'm also being called to say that attention really does need to be given to the way that things were naturally. So it's not saying that the way things are just perfect, but the way in which we advance, the way in which we move into these higher octaves of ourselves, which is really going to be kicking off in September for a lot of people, kicking off with a challenge. That does need attention nonetheless. That elevation process, how am I projecting? Who am I becoming? What does that look like? What does that sound like? All of that stuff needs attention. But given that we just came from a very anoretic full moon cycle on August 22nd, be sure to check that video out. I'll link it below and in the top right hand corner. It's important to look at because we had anoretic full moon, very rare. That was on the point in astrology that is the point of narcissism, the point of also debilitation through self-obsession or narcissism. So what I've just been talking about here for about the last 5 minutes is kind of within that vicinity, the inability to focus on one's contribution, but rather to be like sidetracked by the appearance or by the tone. These things are very likely in a debilitated territory. So this is again where I'm seeing like careful about rushing into things, careful about rushing into like the salon and getting a crazy style, careful about, again, all of these retrogrades as well, which we'll talk about here in a second. But very long intuitive message session to this video. What else do I want to talk about for intuitive messages before we move on? I have written down mastery. So skill mastery is going to be a big point of expertise for a lot of people this month. Like you can really see that you are becoming very deliberately aware of a certain skill or a certain capability. And this is one of the positives of this month. Like you can be very expert in something, or with just a little bit of effort, and this is to a degree been in effect all year. With a little bit of effort, you can learn a lot really quickly. So with that, I definitely recommend research, tutorials, study programs, anything that's broadening your talents, broadening your options is a great area of focus right now. And the last intuitive message that I had written down is I just have low point. That means a lot of different things to me, but I'm going to kind of be quick about it. For some people, September will be the most difficult month of this year, and I've just got to put that out for you. It doesn't have to be. It can, through difficulty, become very, again, legacy building. And if you are experiencing difficulty, especially if that difficulty has to do with like a project or something that's giving you more for like the rest of your life, try to really, I would say strong arm it through with that idea that I am building something for the greater future. I am, advancing. Because honestly, everyone, I'm feeling like things are way more expensive than we expect this month. Things are way more energetically, perhaps, but also monetarily expensive. I'm seeing deficits for a lot of people. I'm seeing economic deficits. I'm seeing like all over the board, things had a higher cost than we expected. So knowing that in advance is really powerful because we can choose to methodically manage our time in a way that levels us up this month with this level of challenge. So I'm going to kind of do energetic notification here. Like, it takes really good time management this month. Because yes, for some people, there's a bit of a low point here. That could be a low point of the bank account. That could be a low point of just unknowingness. Like, I have no clue how some of this stuff is going to advance. I have no clue how I'm going to get through this. I have no clue. And we almost just have to laugh about it. Like, honestly, as many lighthearted things as you can do. Maybe it means extra time on YouTube watching comedy videos during one's free time, if one has the free time for that. Perhaps it means extra time eating really healthy, wonderful food. Spending, maybe instead of just allotting 30 minutes to eating and just kind of eating and like watching something, like maybe really carve out eating time for yourself and just let that eating experience be a healing process for you. Ritualizing that to a degree can almost be somewhat psychologically helpful at this time. There's something about giving back to oneself, about nourishing oneself amidst all of these expenditures, all of these like rational experiences, all of these like legacy building experiences for a lot of people. It's good to have these still simple moments where we're eating, sleeping, whatever, that are more simple human experiences. Okay. And the last thing I'll say for intuitive messages, it's going to be a long video, is that October is a wonderful, incredible relief for a lot of people. And it starts a series of relief-oriented months. And even though that is the case, even at the end of December, there's going to be some eclipse season that comes in. And it's basically going to eclipse out some of these really heavy things that we feel like are never going to go away at this point in time. And that can be a little bit hysterical for some people. But I will say, in general, October beginning of November, end of December, January, then February. Like, it's getting a lot better. Okay, it's getting a lot better if we let it. Okay, sometimes people can get a little bit addicted to difficult, trying times as well. I've really noticed that throughout these years of this work. But September is kind of the last month of like extremely chaotic purge for a lot of people, and October lightens the load. So knowing that, why not get some stuff out of the way here? Why not fix some habits that don't need to be here? Why not think about your legacy and think about how you're building something strong for the future of your life, and perhaps of that of your descendants as well. So anyway, let's get into the astrology of this oncoming month of September. And I will just pop in a little bit of an advertisement here for my Patreon page. Yes, every single week I do bonus weekly forecasts on Patreon. These are called T-chats, and I do viewer requests in some of them. So once you join my Patreon page, you can actually comment on videos and just type in a viewer request, and I save those, and I try to answer the ones that are, helpful questions for everyone. And yes, you can also get readings early and ad-free over there, all of them with their extended counterparts. The T-chats, I have a monthly audio stream that I do called Benevolence, which is a higher tier, but it's all laid out over there. And I definitely recommend that everyone come and try out the Patreon page, because it's just a really great service, and you can actually cancel that at any time if it's not something that you love. What I love about Patreon is it really just gives all the power to the patrons to kind of manage your membership however you like. So that's linked below. It'll be in the top right-hand corner now, and I'll put it into the comments as well. Moving on, astrology in the month of September 2021. So, this one's kind of an overwhelming month, guys. I've got to say, it's full of oppositions. Okay, I don't know if I've ever seen so many transit oppositions in a long time. So what does that mean? What does an opposition mean in astrology? And we'll go through the individual oppositions. Oppositions mean that you see something head on. You see something for what it is. You see the truth of a situation. And there's kind of no occluding or hiding from the truth of a matter. So I love the honesty of it. I love the honesty of this year, actually. And that's going to come to a climax in this month. Like, we're going to kind of be looking directly at things for what they are. And we're going to get a lot of confirmation and verification through that. Starting the month, okay, there's more oppositions that happen throughout the month. But, I mean, we start the month right with a Mars opposite Neptune. Okay, so Neptune opposite Mars is one of the most difficult astrology transits. Luckily, there's no retrograde Mars, so it's going to move through decently quickly and get out of the way. But we have to just not be too over-reliant on emotional issues with that transit, because Mars and Neptune together create a kind of like gridlocked emotional situation, and it's very difficult to have empathy. It's very difficult for other people to understand where you're at. People can be totally off. People, like, if you're someone who needs a lot of emotional validation or a lot of mutual understanding, that's not something that's probably going to be there in the beginning of September. And it's going to probably cause some emotional outbursts. Mars opposite Neptune is like emotional tantrums for some people. It's like lava boiling over the surface. And also, some of us don't even know where it's coming from. Like, we don't even know why we're mad. We don't even know why we're upset. It's like very like what? Like, why did I have that reaction at that point? You might have already noticed that even leading up to it in August, that you're like, whoa, I've had an emotional reaction to something that didn't even make me feel that bad. So the good thing about Mars opposite Neptune is it reveals in a kind of odd way, like, why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. So stuff can get channeled, stuff can come to the surface, stuff can be really overwhelming for that brief period of time, which basically is going to be, we start on September 1st with the exact Neptune-Mars opposition. And then about a week and a half later, yeah, I'm just doing this in real time, guys, the chart animation. About a week and a half later, and by September 15th, Mars has moved into Libra. So that's out already by then. The first half of September gets that done with. So that's going to be quickly relieving. And of course, the Sun Chiron quincunx building to opposition by the end of September. That's going to move really quickly too. I mean, even within like 1 week. So like by like September 9th even, September 10th, that's already getting pretty far out of orb. But of course, it's going to be building to an opposition in Libra time. And Sun opposite Chiron reveals our wounds. Okay, that reveals, again, our true feelings, kind of similar. And having the Mars opposite Neptune and the Sun opposite Chiron in the same month, I think that a lot of us are going to have a breakthrough discovery, okay, of why we're stuck. Wow, guys. Yeah, a lot of us are going to have a breakthrough discovery of what's actually held us back, of what's actually been in a point of stagnation. Also, a breakthrough discovery about who is on our side and who isn't on our side. True colors. But I have to kind of offset it with there's something kind of like untrue about it as well. So on one hand, I'm being called to say, yeah, let's see people for who they are, look at people's characteristics. But I'm also being called to say that something's a little bit off with it as well, with like the perception or the context of the situation. Like maybe in this context, this person is really not acting in integrity or really not acting with our best interests at heart, but maybe that's not really who they are. Maybe it's like the context that is having this effect on them, and basically having them in a mask that's kind of like temporary. So there could be a feeling of like temporary relationship drama, or kind of being freaked out by like a side of someone that you feel like you're not accustomed to or haven't seen in a while. So that's just something to keep in mind. It will probably pass, but within those two oppositions happening so close to each other, is going to be some amount of truth as well. Chiron and Neptune is like also healing opportunity, right? Both of those planets deal with very strong degrees of healing and kind of starting over too, being that they're in Pisces and Aries. There's kind of like a starting over that is really happening for a lot of people. And again, by the end of the month, there's even more oppositions. Okay, so we're going to have Mars opposite Chiron, and Mars and the Sun will conjoin. Yes, so that is an opportunity always, Mars opposite Chiron, to get caught up in a stressful situation, or to also like pick a fight as well. Mars opposite Chiron. Be really careful about initiating conflicts, okay? Initiating disputes, initiating thoughts or dialogues that create conflicts among other people. You have to be very careful with that. It's a really good time to kind of have privacy and to be within and to be kind of, just plodding with a D, plodding along, moving along. Not plotting. It's not a good time for any type of plotting with a T at all. That would be a very dangerous thing at this time. You almost just want to kind of like move through and move quickly, like as if you're a time traveler moving through this experience, moving quite quickly, moving with vigor and stamina through what a lot of people might kind of sense as a turmoil-ridden time. And definitely not picking fights, definitely not starting arguments, definitely probably not even going into dialogues about things that are like really extreme or really crazy, okay? Just to kind of get through this time and just to not have too many battle scars from this period of time. Also, we have a Venus opposite Uranus happening by the end of the month, and that's actually going to be most exact around September 23rd. So right when we go into Libra time, exact Venus-Uranus opposition. Meaning for a lot of people, they'll start a new relationship. Many people could have love affairs during that transit. Many people could also be like dating, like a lot of different people. Usually Venus opposite Uranus, especially being that it's in the Scorpio-Taurus axis, I don't really like it. I think that it's really intense and really poignant experiences that I really have to say, thinking about that also with the Mars-Chiron opposition happening at the same time. Mars and Venus are both opposite two very chaotic outer planets, two retrograde chaotic outer planets. So being single's good during that time, okay? Keeping on is good. But for a lot of people, if it's like there, you could actually have an extreme soulmate experience during that time. Wouldn't be hard to manifest that type of thing. And to a degree, these people that you have that experience with could be really wise, really sturdy, really powerful people. Like I'm seeing like some people having even like friendships, like this can even be like networking or friendships, but we have to always with Venus and Mars think about the potential for, longer term, more deep relationships. And the involvement of Chiron and Uranus says to me that it's very easy to actually be in the presence of unwell people at this time, of people who have a lot of baggage and you don't know about it, though are probably like also very witty and very wizened and very capable people, though also to me they feel in a way unavailable. So I do feel that it's a better time to either keep on keeping on with where you're at or to keep single. Now, if you've been coupled for a long time, you've been in a long-term relationship, this is actually a time of extreme romantic development, all right? So developments that happen in the relationship that will determine the longevity of it moving ahead. And it's a good time to maybe spice things up a little bit to, have experiences with who you're in a relationship with in a new way. So going to new places, taking on new things, trying to kind of, just spice things up a little bit. Because I feel that like boredom or the safe option for a lot of people is just not going to be good enough with these transits. Like people are kind of like risking or kind of playing with fire or so anything that's evocative of that, these gambles or these kind of risky associations, risky connections, risky stuff would probably be something that many people can associate with or will associate with just with these transits. But if you want to really power through this time, I would perhaps recommend to channel this by just getting really solid at your core and like what ways that you might need to spice up your own life in ways that are totally safe, okay, but might seem thrilling and exciting. So, a thrilling and exciting wardrobe update or something. Something like that. But it just try to make it something that's not too substantial, or try to not take on changes that have like a life-altering thing at that time if you could, all right? What other transits do I want to talk about? Yes, we have Mercury going retrograde. I'm going to make an individual video about that when it happens, but that will be happening. Let me get a date for you guys. I'm just letting that animate. Yeah, starting September 27th. So by the end of the month, Mercury retrograde. Try to get things in order before then, as we always say, any life changes that need to happen, any signing of contracts or moving plans or super bustling events are best before the Mercury retrograde, okay, if you can. And yes, that does mean the following, that we will leave September with a record 7 retrogrades. I don't remember the last time I've ever seen 7 retrogrades in the sky at once. That's Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, Chiron, okay? All retrograde by the end of September. So that last week of September and the first week of October is really just a time to be moving through it pretty quickly. Okay, easy stuff, easy experiences, one foot in front of the other, moving on. And then by mid-October, things are going to really start speeding up, and I feel that it's a much more graceful and easy, loving experience that zooms us all the way into February of 2022 really quick. I don't know. You guys know I've been talking about February of 2022 for a long time, but Yeah, this is the last kind of hurdle before we're kind of just like almost going downhill. Not having to climb so hard uphill, but kind of coasting into a very, very much more lifeline oriented way of being. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new, turn on the bell notifications for more content like this, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and comment below and let me know how this video resonated for you. How are you doing in September? Do you have any other things you might like to add or other comments for the channel? I would love to see them. And yes, this channel is on Patreon. I will link it below, and it will be linked in the center of the screen to get September readings early and ad-free, as well as weekly bonus content. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful month ahead. Bye.